Good morning, everyone. I am Karleen, this is Demi, and we are here to teach you some reading skills. First, Demi's going to tell you something about what different types of reading skills we have, and he's going to give you some information about that. And afterwards, we're going to do
a reading test
activity. Sorry. And then see what you've learned from this. So Demi will say.
Yeah, so we'll also discuss the answers afterwards, and we'll check if you've actually used the skills we provide in the information we're going to give you. So we want you to use the knowledge we, or the information we provide and apply it to the text. Yeah. And then afterwards we'll discuss it with each other. Alright, so there are two reading types. We distinguish the intensive reading and the extensive reading. Intensive reading is what we usually do inside of a classroom. It's basically observing really close and finding the meaning. It's also called close reading. So this means, for instance, when we're doing prose and poetry, we observe a poem. We take one stanza, we check it, we read it, and we try to find out every meaning of every word in the text. And this is called intensive reading. So it's what we usually do in a classroom. The other one is extensive reading, and extensive reading is a bit like, you know, when you're skimming a text or reading a newspaper really fast. That's called extensive reading. It's not really what we do a lot because extensive reading is not really useful inside of a classroom because we want to learn from it. And when we're extensive reading, which is not used very often, not even by people who aren't in a classroom. So extensive reading is really underused, but it can be useful when you try to briefly just check a text really fast. It's all globally and about the main idea of a text.
Like magazines and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and furthermore we have reading strategies. First I want to talk about predicting. When you often get a text, it is very useful as a student. When you read this text, the first thing you do is check the title, and when you check the title, you wanna predict what the text is going to be about. You do this to get more involved in the text, because when you get a text and you instantly start reading, you don't really pay attention to what you're actually reading. And what we want you to do when you're reading is you need to be involved in order to answer questions effectively. So when you're doing your exams, you need to keep in mind that not being focused or not paying close attention to your text or being involved with it can really, your mark can really suffer from that. So predicting can be really useful. Make a prediction when you read a title. People usually do this very often. They do it without even thinking. But it is something you should keep in consideration. Also, we have a method called skimming. When you skim a text, I mean, we've all heard it, skimming a text, but what really is skimming a text? Skimming a text is when you look at a text really fast, you check through it, you look for certain aspects of a text, you just really want to go through it real quick. So it's also called speed reading. However, when you're speed reading, this is a form of the extensive reading, so it's not really, you don't really learn a lot from it. So it's not that useful. Skimming a text is just to get a general idea of what a text is about. Like, you open a newspaper, you see a bunch of articles, you instantly skim a couple of texts to see what do I find interesting, what do I find boring, do I want to read this? I mean, there's all a couple of articles about random stuff we don't even want to read, so that is pretty useful. Then next is applying your knowledge. This sounds really logical, but as I said with the predicting, when you're not paying close attention to a text or when you're with your brain somewhere else, it can be really hard to focus on the text itself. I mean, when you're in a train, for instance, and people are talking all over the place and you're reading, you can't focus at all. And you're reading and you read a page and you realize, what did I read? I don't know what it was about. So what you want to do is you want to keep your head with the text, keep it quiet, and just focus on it. So apply your knowledge, be involved with the text again. Furthermore, we have the structure recognition. texts are always have a certain structure. You don't start with the ending and then, you know, it has a structure. So you have paragraph 1, 2, and 3, and they're all organized and they're all connected in a way. So when you're reading a text, make sure you check the organization. It's also pretty useful for when you're checking or when you're doing your questions, or answering the questions rather. It is very useful to check the structure of a text, right? Because knowing the structure, you know where to find your answers, and that is very useful for, obviously, when you're doing your exam. Also, we have what is called scanning. Scanning looks a lot like skimming, but it really is more of a combination between intensive reading and extensive reading, right? So when we're scanning, you have this text and you look for a certain piece of information. So people usually do this when they rush to their questions, and they're at the questions and they're like, oh, I need to find an answer, this and this and that, I don't know where to find it. Oh, I guess I'll just go look in the text. And people just focus on the text. You look down, you look for certain keywords that you're looking for in your answer. You scroll down, you look, you see a couple of words, you think, oh, these are useful, and then you start reading intensively, right? So it's a combination of skimming, so you skim, you look, and then when you find what you're looking for a little bit, you go more into the intensive part. So this is more of a combination. I think students, often very lazy students, do this a lot, and I know I do it a lot. So it is pretty useful. Yeah, that's right. Back when I was still a child in school, like you kids. Yeah. So you know, I know a couple of you out there are pretty. You know, you want to get into the questions real fast, but just when you're doing that, make sure you do it organized. Again, look at the structure of the text. You know where to find stuff. Scan the text, look for the words you need, and eventually you'll find the answer. Of course, it is very handy to first read the text, so you know what it's about, right? Alright, and then we have the detailed reading. Detailed reading is pretty much what we call in general intensive reading, but detailed reading is just an example of that. Detailed reading, we look at like one phrase or even one word or just even a paragraph to be a little bit more wide range, but we can also focus it down to one word. Detailed reading pretty much means you're looking for a certain answer in a little bit of text, but you don't know what it is, right? So when we're analyzing a poem, for instance, you have one sentence, and you really need to know what that means. They use metaphoric talk and all that kind of stuff, so you really want to know what it is about, because it can be the key to your answer. Make sure you check it into detail, you think about it, and keep that in mind. And then the last part is using or checking the context to make sure you know what words mean. There are obviously always words in a text you don't know. Usually you're allowed to use a dictionary, but if you're not, you are supposed to check the context, and you need to make sure that when you read the context, you know what to look for, right? So certain words, especially when we're going to give you this exercise that's fill in the gap, you need to look at the context and think what could be there, or if there is a word in a text, you need to see obviously what the word means, right? So we check the context, make sure we know what the word means, because those words can be key in your exam, and we can often read from the context that you really need to know this specific word, right? So there's often words when you read the text, you don't really need to know the words, just carry on. But if you really need to know those, you'll find out, and you should check for that. Right.
Thank you, Demi. Well, what I would like you to do is to get a pen, please, if everybody has one. Just, yeah, one.
I have one. I have a red one.
Then what Demi told you was a lot of information. We hope you picked up something from it. And we would like you to apply this to this text.
Sorry?
Sorry?
Sorry.
this text using the skills Demi has told you about, and here are some questions. So,
All right, and if you can't read Dutch questions, I think all of you speak Dutch. Just ask your neighbor. Or ask us. All right, right?
if you have any questions, you can ask. Just take your time. And would you please underline where you have found the answer in the text, because we're going to talk about it after you finish, and then you don't have to look up where you found it all over again.
All right.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah, can you read it?
If I hold it like this, I can read it.
All right, because we had a little bit of a scanning problem, but
Yeah,
it should be
I
fine.
have a eye problem.
All right. Oh, that's a combination of the words. All right.
Yeast is
Gist.
yeah.
It's in your beer.
I use it here. Are we old enough?
You don't know which class you're in. Well,
Oh, that's an
that's
interesting
right.
question.
I've never got to class and realized I didn't know what class I was in, but okay.
Are we old enough to drink?
No,
Oh.
you're not.
We do it anyway.
But yeast isn't only in beer, right? So
It's in bread as
It's in
well.
bread.
yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. Good question, Alex. Just to prepare you in advance. See what your level is.
Every answer is B.
Remember to mark where you found your answer.
shall try to finish until question 37. And then we're going to discuss this one.
Now?
Right now?
Yes, you can.
It's like,
Just, you have like 4 up 2 minutes maybe to finish. So trying to finish the
Just try and get as
question.
far as you can,
Yeah,
and we'll discuss the answers.
it's okay if you don't finish.
Alright.
Exactly.
Just try to get as far as you can.
Okay, finish what you are writing down or reading, and then put down your endings. Yes, you can. Or can you maybe wait for like 2 minutes? Sorry.
Yeah, you don't go to the bathroom when we're discussing the answers. You can go afterwards.
Alright, so question 1. Explain what is meant with something else. Who has that answer?
Or who wants to give the answer?
Yeah.
food intolerance,
Yes. Nice one.
found it in section 14.
14. Yes, that is correct. Thank you. Question 34. Which of the following can be concluded from paragraph 2? Who would like to give an answer? Kingsley?
I have C.
Yes. And where did you find that answer?
Basically the whole paragraph 2 is all about that. Like, I basically wrote the entire paragraph as.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be what you conclude from paragraph 2, so logically you'll find it in paragraph 2.
Yeah, but it's, yeah. It's according to the lines 25 till 29, that's where the exact answer is. And then question 35. Give for each quote. It's hard to translate that.
It's true or false.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
True or false?
Yeah. The first one. Is it true or false? Lines 32.
Based on the
Read.
third and fourth paragraph.
Yeah.
Does anyone know the first?
I had sort of,
Yeah, why did you think it was false?
Well, I just skimmed the text and didn't fully read it. But there's now growing skepticism about the skill of food intolerance to organic. I didn't read anywhere where it says otherwise.
well, it
Well,
says
that's-
that they think that it's gonna outgrow
Yeah.
people, so that it's not really concerned, because they're gonna outgrow it.
Yeah, that's the correct answer now.
So is it true or false?
So it's true. Yeah. Same. And second one. on, Kingsley?
I have faults.
It's true.
I must have gone through it too quickly.
Yeah, see, you have to be careful when reading intensively and just skimming when it's in.
Right. And I know you didn't have a lot of time, so that
Yeah.
is kind of taken into consideration.
And the third one, Dylan?
I have food.
That's false. I'm sorry. And the fourth one, and finally, is. Ben Kingsley, give me an answer.
True.
Yay!
So you did pay attention.
Yay!
No.
I'm gonna give you the answers for 36 and 37. Sorry? I'm just gonna give you the answers because we have to move on and then you can check. But 36 is C, and you can see it in the lines 45 to 47. 37 is C, that shows paragraph 4, and 38 is B, and you can see that in the lines 84 to 88. Excuse her.
And 39 and 40?
Did you have 39 and 40?
No, but I didn't have 38 and 36.
All right.
And 36.
Well, okay. If you want to know that, then by all means ask.
40 is C, and 39 is only you can
Determine.
which food you're oversensitive to.
Alright, so it is a little bit annoying that the text is partially in Dutch.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so we have another little exercise. You can take this home with you. Look at them again if you would like to. There's no homework because I gave you the answers already. This is a fill in the gap. Your
Alright,
text.
and remember when you're trying to fill in the gap, just look at the context real clear, right? And try to make sense of it.
Oh, I only made this one.
Really?
The answers.
You're a good
Really?
student, Jack.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And then you should know the answers.
Well,
If
Let's
you can
see.
remember.
Yeah.
it's been like a year ago, so.
Okay, so you'll have around 3 minutes for this.
Just again, try to get as far as you can, and we'll discuss the answers.
Use your knowledge. Oh. Feel free also to work together. Maybe then you can talk a bit English to each other. See if you understand. I'm sorry guys, we don't have any time left, so you can take this home with you. What did you do at first when you saw this text?
First thing I did was look for the gap.
Nice one.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a typical student.
And notice something was missing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I went to the question and saw which words were given to fill in the gap. And I read around basically the area of the gap to see if I could fill anything there and not have to read the whole thing.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good way to approach this text. And did you understand every word that you saw here from ABC? Did you have words that you had some problems with, or? Because if you do, please use at home a dictionary and write down what the word means so you won't forget for next time. And the answers of this text I will upload on the internet, and you can finish it at home for next week.
Alright.
Are there any questions? No?
No.
Then I wish you
Yeah.
a good day.
Thanks for your attention, and feel free to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.